Religious leaders in France gathered on Monday to show solidarity and to condemn the brutal murder of Samuel Paty, the history teacher who was assassinated in a suburb of Paris on Friday. Our international correspondent Annalise Borges went to meet some of the people paying tribute.
France is still struggling to come to terms with the unspeakable violence that struck the country once again. On Monday, religious leaders gathered to pray and pay their respects to the history teacher killed in the name of a dangerous interpretation of their faith.
We ask for forgiveness because he was beheaded in the name of our religion. We ask for forgiveness to all the victims murdered in the name of Islam. Islamism is a threat to us too.
The killing of Samuel Paty calls into question the increasingly fragile coexistence of freedom of expression and freedom of conscience in France. Earlier this year, Emmanuel Macron announced a project to fight against the threat of Islamist separatism. But others say the French are already at war.
Have we understood that the mass murders at the Bataclan or Nice, the targeted attacks against our military, our police, the atrocious murders of a priest or a businessman, and now a teacher, are a declaration and acts of war that our leaders have always sought to minimize?
In Conflans-Sainte-Honorine, many believe politics and politicians are making matters worse.
This is not a religious problem. I think this is first and foremost a political problem. The religious issue comes second. Religion is being used. I defend freedom of expression in all its dimensions, and I believe we must defend the freedom of believing and of not believing.
As France's government works on a, quote, firm response, Samuel Paty's former school bears witness to the shock and the sadness of those who lost a mentor and now fear losing the argument in defense of France's fundamental values and essential freedoms. Annalise Borges, Euronews, Conflans-Sainte-Honorine.
Well, following the murder of Samuel Paty, pressure is mounting on social media companies to better tackle hate speech that's online. Shauna's been taking a look for us.
Well, this morning, the Minister of Citizenship within France was speaking. She said that she wants social media companies to do more to tackle hate speech online following the murder of Samuel Paty. Now, this echoed a sentiment that has already been said numerous times in the political sphere within France. We know that one government spokesperson speaking on Sunday said the exact very same sentiment. But he also said that this started on social media and it unfortunately ended on social media too. We know that a very disgruntled father of a student that saw that image in the class went first on Facebook and posted a video. That video then went through messaging platforms, Facebook Messenger, and then WhatsApp. That's how it went from being an internal matter to an external one being shared on social media. We also know that the image of the beheading was shared on Twitter, and this raises very serious questions for social media platforms. But this is a conversation we have already had. We've talked about it numerous times here in the Cube because we know that there was a draft law that was first introduced in France. It passed through the French Parliament in May. That draft law was going to be very harsh. It said that social media companies needed to take down inappropriate content within 24 hours, but if it was terrorism content, it should be taken down within 1 hour, according to that draft law, or else they could have faced fines of up to 4% of their global revenue. But that draft law was struck down in the constitutional courts, the reason being that it was tussling with freedom of speech on social media. How do you tackle effectively hate speech without relying so much on artificial intelligence that perhaps freedom of speech could be impinged by that too? And now people are coming back onto the table trying to tackle and see how they can tackle hate speech online. So much so that we know that numerous tech companies will be meeting with a high-level official this afternoon. We know that one of the leaders of that draft law law has been speaking on social media, and she said this: today, if we want to harm someone, we just have to post on social networks and make it go viral. She says this is why we are going to continue to fight to redo and remake social media so it's a method of communication rather than a place to spur on hatred. We reached out to Facebook and Twitter. Twitter said that they will be attending that meeting today, this afternoon, with a high-level official in the French government. Facebook, we gave them 24 hours to respond. They failed to do so. They did not respond to our request for comment. We know that in May, a high-level official in Facebook said that 89% of hate speech is being removed before anyone reports it online. They are using artificial intelligence, they said, leveraging that far more to take down hate speech. But clearly, many French officials saying that much more needs to be done, that it's not the rules, but it is the enforcement of those rules that's clearly an issue here, according to many of those French politicians.
Shauna, thank you very much.